Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we welcome Governor Mike Beebe, the Henderson State University Board of Trustees, and members of the Platform Party. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Glen Jones, Jr., President of Henderson State University. Please remain standing and turn your attention to the American flag for the singing of our national anthem. And now, Reverend Stan Parrish will deliver the invocation.
Let's pray. All right, Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to you today for just the privilege, the honor of being here for this significant and historical occasion. And Father, we thank you that this is the day that you have made, and we will rejoice and be glad in this. We thank you so much for this university, what it has meant to so many of us through the years. We thank you for administrators and professors and staff who have been there at just the right time with just the right instruction to direct us in just the right way. We thank you so much for Dr. Jones and his family. We thank you for the privilege of praying for them today. We pray that you would bless them and that you would protect them physically and emotionally and spiritually. We thank you for your presence here with us today. And we thank you that we can lift Dr. Jones, his family, up to you, knowing that you hear and you answer prayer. We do pray that you would give him wisdom and vision and leadership as he provides leadership to this university. We pray that he would continue, as he always has, to trust in the Lord with all of his heart, leaning not upon his own understanding, but in all your ways and his ways, that he would acknowledge you. Father, thank you for this occasion. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Board of Trustees Chairman, Mr. Bill Wright, will offer a welcome.
Governor Beebe, esteemed administrators, faculty, staff, alum, students, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Henderson State University Board of Trustees, I welcome you to the investiture of Dr. Glendale Jones, the 17th president of Henderson State University. We thank you for joining us today as we begin a new chapter in our nearly 125 years history as an institution of higher education. It is a chapter led today by an alumnus of this institution who will strive to take this university to a new level of greatness and who will dare each and every one of us individually to be great. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to acknowledge the family of Dr. Jones. And these lights are terrible, guys. So Sharon, Camille, Cameron, where are you? All right. Will you stand, please? I am honored to represent our Board of Trustees as we celebrate this milestone occasion for President Jones and Henderson State University. This is a wonderful occasion, and I'm honored to present President Jones with greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees of this institution and best wishes for future success of our great institution.
Mr. Philip Turner will offer a greeting on behalf of the student body.
Good afternoon to the campus community, the Board of Trustees, and the friends and family of our honoree. My sincere thanks to Carrie Robinson and the entire staff that recommended me to speak today, as well as the entire staff for their notable efforts in putting on this program. On this day, we're gathered together to welcome and publicly install Glen Jones as the next president of our university. Dr. Jones is a man who has shown his ability to connect with students, alumni, and donors through his wit, colorful stories, and anecdotes. Myself, and many of my friends included, will always remember his story of the pen and the 95% in his accounting classes. I'd go into it more, but he can tell that story better than I can. I have the pleasure of serving on the committee I'm serving on the search committee that actually brought Dr. Jones to campus. And I can say with certainty that he is a distinguished scholar. Graduating with honors in accounting from this university, attaining a law degree from the law school at the University of Arkansas, and furthering his education to receive a master's in law, the highest terminal degree for lawyers, and one of the most complex and boring specializations in personal tax law. He went on to teach several courses here before actually moving on to administration at the Arkansas State University and starting his family. But though he's had a remarkable and commendable career, what's more impressive is his background. A first-generation college student from a rural eastern Arkansas city and from a historically underrepresented race in higher education and law, the idea of Dr. Jones being honored here today as the next president of this university was, in a very serious way, a fairy tale. And for him to overcome these seemingly natural barriers speaks to the greatness of this country, yes, but more to the dedication and perseverance of him. He is, in every sense, a role model, and speaking personally, I hope to walk in his very footsteps. He's shown tremendous support for all student-led initiatives, programs designed for student success, as well as our social interactions. The Student Government Association sees him as a beloved ally, especially when he invites us over for pizza. And he truly puts students front and center in the school's mission statement of delivering a quality education in the liberal arts. We're deeply impressed with Dr. Jones's dedication to and passion for this university, its students, and the surrounding community. A devoted teacher, administrator, scholar, husband, father. I can't think of a better set of attributes of representatives for this university. With those qualities, his advancements on campus thus far, and a comprehensive vision for this school, there's no limit to where we can truly grow. May God bless you, Dr. Jones, as our president with gifts of wisdom, patience, courage, and so many others, each when they are called for, all when they are needed. May he bless your family, the compassionate First Lady Sharon. the scholarly Camille, and the loquacious Cameron. You've already led us a great distance, a gentleman with an impassioned attitude and a clear vision for the next chapter in Henderson's rich history. May you energize in all of us a spirit of boldness and commitment. Speaking on behalf of the entire student body, as the powers vested in me by the Student Government Association, I welcome you, Glen Jones, my mentor and my friend, back home to a school ready to take on the world. May you highlight the Henderson name and the ready spirit always shine on you. Thank you.
Mr. Jacob Mills will offer a greeting on behalf of the staff.
Welcome here this afternoon. Henderson State University, the school with a heart. It has touched each one of us in profound ways. I moved to Arkansas when I was a senior in high school, and so I didn't have much of an idea of what is here in Arkansas. Well, I eventually was persuaded by the faculty and staff, as well as a substantial, sizable scholarship, to come to Henderson. But I told myself that I would only be here for a year, and that I would save up money and eventually move back to Georgia. As the year came closer to an end, I found myself saying, just one more year. Then, before I knew it, I found myself saying that over and over, just one more year. Now, as both alum and a member of the staff here at Henderson State University, I have found that not only is Henderson the school with a heart, but it will grow in the hearts of others. I'm sure many of you here have or will develop similar stories. As Mr. Turner so eloquently put, Dr. Jones is an excellent candidate. Since he has come to Henderson State University, it is apparent that he has a strong determination to help Henderson grow and adapt to meet the challenges ahead. Yet at the same time, he has consistently held to those principles that make Henderson such a memorable and heartfelt university. Time and time again, you will see him engaging the students and Henderson employees both on and off campus. He genuinely wants to learn who you are and what you have to say about the university, thereby helping Henderson grow in a way that everyone can look forward to. You can't find any better quality than that for a president at the university known as the School with a Heart. So I'd like to welcome all of you here and Dr. Jones and his family, and on behalf of the staff of Henderson State University, I'd like to say that we stand with Dr. Glen Jones and look forward to the leadership and heart that he will continue to display as Henderson's 17th president.
Dr. David Evans will offer a greeting on behalf of the faculty.
Governor Beebe, members of the Board of Trustees, President Jones, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, and students, on behalf of the faculty, I bring greetings. As president of the Faculty Senate, I've had the pleasure and the privilege of getting to know President Jones quite well over the past year. My duties have allowed me monthly meetings with him, to serve on a number of committees and task forces at his invitation, and have even allowed some social interactions. So I have observed him in a variety of settings. And I can report back to you the following 3 observations. First, he is a calm, quiet, thoughtful leader. Okay, he does get a little excited about Bow-Tie Thursdays, but we can allow him that indulgence. He is a devoted and caring husband and father, and he brings to Henderson that caring attitude. He cares deeply about this community and wants to see it prosper. Not a bad quality for the leader of the school with a heart. Finally, he has a clear vision for HSU, and he earnestly wants the Henderson community to embrace that vision and work collaboratively to help him achieve it. President Jones, on behalf of the faculty, I congratulate you on the work you have begun and wish you well in the coming years.
Dr. Alvin Futrell will offer a greeting on behalf of the alumni.
Want to keep them cool? Governor Beebe, members of the Board of Trustees, President Jones, faculty, staff, students, parents, and friends. This is a great institution. Henderson State University has been the launching pad of numerous alumni in their career. It has a proud history of academic success and achievement, and many who have carved their names on the walls of their respective professions. I think that special academic gatherings such as this gives us a unique view of where we've come from, where we are, and where we're headed. Henderson holds a rich tradition of providing a quality education for its students. And while history has validated this through the success of its alumni, it is obvious that we are now facing challenging and difficult times. Our challenge today is to be better. A better faculty, a better staff, a better student body, thus a better university. We are challenged to do more with less. We must connect with the communities that we serve, both locally and nationally. We must highlight the excellence of HSU. In that respect, we all share in that responsibility. It has been stated that the strategy for growth is based on the belief that people, more than money and more than physical facilities, make the difference in building an institution that's recognized for its quality. The last stanza in Invictus by William Ernest Henry suggests that our collective responsibility really begins with our individual actions. It states, "It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." So on behalf of the HSU Alumni Board, I am pleased to acknowledge Dr. Jones' desire to accept the challenge and to move this institution forward, writing a new chapter and leading HSU to the next level of greatness. We, as a board, are ready and willing to assist you in your efforts to make Henderson State University a premier institution of higher education and truly a school with a heart.
Christ,
and gentlemen, please welcome former Henderson State University President, Dr. Chuck Welch.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is a privilege for me to be with you today. And before I introduce our special guest, I would be remiss if I didn't say a few things about the 17th president of Henderson State University. You know, this institution, perhaps with the exception of the 15th president, has been blessed with some exceptional leaders. You can look up to see who was 15th there in your book. And Dr. Jones is certainly no exception to that. He is a man of high intellect, a man of unquestionable integrity, and a man with a strong commitment to student learning and to student success. He is someone who very quickly in this state has become a voice for higher education and a noted leader in the work that we are doing statewide. You are very lucky to have him in Henderson State. We are indeed very lucky to have him leading across this entire state of Arkansas, and I'm proud to call him my friend and congratulate him on this special day. Congratulations. I also have the great honor today of introducing our governor, Governor Mike Beebe, a man who truly is an embodiment of the transformative power of higher education. He was born to a single mother in Amagon, Arkansas. He never knew his father, and they got by on the tips that his mother earned as a waitress. As a child, his family moved often. He actually lived in Detroit, St. Louis, Chicago, Houston, and Alamogordo, New Mexico, before graduating ultimately from Newport High School. If you looked at the characteristics he had as a child, he is an individual that wasn't supposed to make it, but he did. And he graduated from Arkansas State University. He went on to earn a law degree from the University of Arkansas School of Law. And at the age of 26, Governor Bumpers appointed him to the Arkansas State University Board of Trustees. And I've heard the governor say that he probably shouldn't have been appointed at that age, but he was. For 20 years, he served in the Arkansas State Senate, and he never once had an opponent. You want to know how popular this guy is? He ran for Attorney General after those 20 years, and he didn't have an opponent. In fact, he never had an opponent until he decided to run for governor. And the first time he won by winning 60 of the 75 counties in our state. And when he ran for re-election 4 years later, he got 65% of the vote. And he served as our governor during unprecedented times, both for this state and for this country. We've had a recession that none of us have seen in our lifetime, and for the first time in our lifetimes, control of the governor's office and the legislature did not belong to the same political party. These were the years that he should not have been successful, but he has been. He has cut taxes, he's balanced the budget, he's greatly improved K-12 education rankings, he's enjoyed significant economic development accomplishments, and he has provided millions of dollars to higher education. And he has assured me that he will try to give millions more before he leaves office in 18 months. I want that on the record, Governor. So, you want to know how popular he is? He was honored by Governing Magazine as Public Official of the Year. He currently serves as the chairman of the Southern Governors Association, and he has been recognized as the most popular governor in the United States. Governor Beebe and his wife Ginger believe very strongly that any child who has a dream can make that dream come true. And they've worked together to improve children's health and literacy throughout the state, and they've been nationally recognized for their leadership in fighting childhood hunger. They also understand the value and importance of higher education, and he is often called the higher education governor. This was a man that wasn't supposed to make it at many turns of his life, but he always has. And we are all much better for that, and our young people have a much brighter future because of that. Please join me in welcoming the most popular governor in America, Governor Mike Beebe.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the 18th president. At the risk of offending Mr. Mills from the Staff Senate, and Dr. Evans from the Faculty Senate, and Dr. Putro from the Alumni Association, at the risk of preempting Dr. Jones's remarks, and certainly with normal humility for my own remarks, we all could have sat down and shut up after Philip Turner gave his. I think Dr. Jones' mama and dad and sister are here too, aren't they? Would you all stand up so we can thank you for giving us this guy? I was kidding Glen backstage because a couple of his faculty members or board members were giving him grief, trying to get him in line, trying to get him to stop taking pictures, trying to get him in the proper order and proper place at the proper time to come out here. And one of them said, "Where's Glendale?" Well, I know when I talked to him and he gave me the answer that when his mama said, "Glendale, get back here," when a mama uses both your names, you better pay attention and you better get there from her. "Glendale, get down out of the back of that pickup. Glendale, have you done your homework?" You've already heard it said that he was first generation college graduate. I think his daddy worked hard in a factory most of his life. Mama worked hard in the cafeteria her life. Not unlike my mama, waiting tables. But they knew that for a better life for their son, and ultimately for their daughter, that one of the keys was education, and one of the real keys beyond just plain education is higher education. We have made inordinate strides in this state in the past several years through collective efforts of a lot of people, a lot of organizations, teachers, administrators, parents, students, legislators, business leaders. And Arkansas now stands at a place where merely a decade ago, most people would not have believed in national K through 12 education rankings. Arkansas is 5th in all of America, number 5 out of the 50 states plus the District of Columbia. When they compile those rankings, they utilize 6 different categories, and we're in different places among those categories, but the overall ranking ends up being 5th. I mean, we're first in one category, second in another. But the lowest category, the one that keeps us from being higher than 5th, is what they call chance for success. I think we're 41st in that category. If you read the way they put this stuff together in what they call chance for success, it's a statistic that I can't immediately do anything about, and you can't immediately do anything about, but in our slow and steady way we can change. Because that number one ingredient in chance for success is, did your parents have a college education? And we can't change that overnight. What we need are more parents like Glen's parents, or like my mom, who even though they didn't have a college education, understood and recognized the value of that and what door or doors that would open for their children. You see, too often, parents that didn't go to college don't have that appreciation and pass it down to their children. Oh, of course there are exceptions. We see one seated here today. But generally speaking, success breeds success. Education breeds education. The understanding of the value of higher education is passed on. And so what we have to do is expand the numbers today. Expand those numbers tomorrow so that we have more people for the next generation to emulate that understands the value of higher education. Because there are too few Jones family members. There are too few people like my mother who, notwithstanding the fact that they didn't possess that degree, understood the importance of that degree. And that's the mission that we're all here about. I'm extremely proud of the progress of K through 5, but I'll tell you that in my entire public service career, as important as education in general was, as important and constitutionally prioritized as K through 12 is, my baby has always been higher ed. All my time in the Senate, we had countless legislative champions for K through 12. Precious few champions for higher ed. Countless folks who understood the need for adult education, for workforce training, the need for pre-K. Precious few would carry the flag consistently and with vigor for higher education. And yet the jobs of tomorrow increasingly require a higher and higher level of skill and expertise, and indeed formal education. The things that are created for tomorrow, the inventions, the entrepreneurs, all of those areas where the jobs that we don't even know will exist will come from people with higher education degrees. Oh yeah, there are exceptions. But for every Sam Walton, there's 100 more out there who are inventing or applying or commercializing ideas that were created and spawned and generated on a college campus. So we're here today to celebrate another chapter in an institution who is providing that higher education for a segment of the state, for a segment of our population, for an entire generation of young people. And some not so young, who are trying to reach out and grab their share of that American dream. It's already been mentioned that Dr. Jones understands that the primary purpose of what this institution is about are the students. It's all student-driven, it's all student-centered. That's the only reason for being here. But he's also one of the first to tell you, you don't do it without an outstanding faculty. You don't do it without teachers who care about what they do every single day in their classroom and who inspire young minds to do more than just sit there and go to sleep. The faculty, just like the library, is the heart of an institution of higher education. That faculty needs all the staff support they can get, and the alumni need not forget where they came from and need not forget the institution that gave them their degrees. And so collectively, while the students are what it's all about, the faculty, the staff, and the alumni are integral parts of what makes up a university. And a leader who understands that is a leader who will be successful. Glen Jones understands that. Where there is no vision, preacher. That's right. You Episcopalians out there, the people perish. I can say that because I'm an Episcopalian. Are you Methodist, Pastor, or are you Baptist? Baptist? Then I can say this without offending you. You know, a Methodist is an Episcopalian who can't read. And a Presbyterian is an Episcopalian with weak knees. And an Episcopalian really was a Catholic that wanted a divorce. That's how it all started. There's some English literature professors out there who really laughed at that one. Man. It's a time of celebration today. It's a time of happiness today. It's a time of hope today. We celebrate a man who has come from places that all of us can admire and respect. We celebrate a family who has created an atmosphere that allowed education to be foremost and who didn't forget where they came from. There are a lot of people in today's world who get something and then they don't want anyone else to have what they've got. There are a lot of people who get in that boat and pull the ladder up so nobody else can get in there with them. And so you admire people who don't forget where they came from, who never forgot that somebody helped them somewhere along the way, and that they too have an obligation and a duty to help somebody else, because that's what this is all about. We all stand on somebody else's shoulders. Nobody made it here on their own. Dr. Jones never forgot that. That's why he is a supremely capable individual to lead this university. You already heard Philip Turner talk about how student sensitive he is. Bring him an idea. If he can do it, he tries to do it. If it's a good idea and if it makes sense, and within the parameters of his ability to get it done. Service. Because you see, a president is not the boss. Oh, he might make the most money. I'm not even sure about that. You don't have a football coach that's making that. But it's all about service. I've got 3 million bosses. A lot of them are sitting in this room. And he has a lot of bosses over and above the Board of Trustees, and that's the people he serves. That's his faculty, that's his staff, that's his students, that's his alumni, and that's the community at large. And he is well prepared to be able to accept that responsibility and carry on the traditions of Henderson State University in a manner and a fashion that will make us all proud. So, on behalf of 3 million Arkansans, let me congratulate you, Glendale. And let me wish you and this institution Godspeed as you educate all those minds that will come through these portals in years to come. Congratulations.
And now, Mr. Bill Wright, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, will present the investiture of the President.
Dr. Jones, will you come join me at the podium? I really feel a little bit cheated today, I'll tell you the truth, in that the university didn't have enough confidence in what I was going to say or do here today. They didn't give me a script. I can tell nobody else got a script, but I got a script.
This floor did.
At any rate, they told me how important it was that I say just exactly the right things. And I will tell you this, which is not scripted. On behalf of myself, my family, and those I believe in the city of Arkadelphia, we're not talking about the university at this point in time. I am going to talk about them in just a second. We take very great pleasure in having Glendale Jones and his family as the 17th president of Henderson State University. I will say one other thing. I don't know why it's taken this long to do this investiture, given the fact that he was hired a year and a half ago. And we knew within 2 or 3 months we really got a winner. So I must say today that this is definitely well planned with 18 months of planning. President Jones, the script here says that by the authority that the trustees of Henderson State University of Greenville, but in fact, by the authority of the trustees of Henderson State University, and I'm the chair, I hereby invest you, I don't think you need to raise your right hand. I hereby invest you in the office of president and all of the authority, the powers, the privileges, and responsibilities that come to that office. Congratulations. Now, I might add, this is the tricky part. The medals of office. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President Michael Jones, the 17th President of Henderson State University.
Thank you all so much. Governor Beebe, to the Henderson Board of Trustees, to our elected and appointed officials, our faculty, our staff, our students, my higher education colleagues, our family and friends. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate my formal investiture as president of Henderson State University. This is an important time in the life of our institution and in the life of our family. Transitions are always tough for an institution and for the individual as we move from the realm of the known to the unknown, from comfort to anticipation. I want to take a moment to thank our campus and our Adelphia community for making the transition for me and my family so incredibly smooth and enjoyable. Specifically, I want to thank you for how you've reached out to our kids. The invitations to swimming parties, to soccer games, to camp outs and sleepovers have been greatly appreciated, and really helped our kids adjust in incredible ways. I was taught at an early age that please and thank you go a long way in life. And as a result, I want to take a few moments just to thank a few very special individuals and groups that are here today that I really need to acknowledge in my life. And I think in this acknowledgement, you'll get a sense of who I am and kind of why I operate the way I operate. First and foremost, I want to thank Governor Beebe. He's been the greatest friend that higher education has had in our state. And while he only has 18 months remaining in his term, Governor, I'm certain your legacy will last for decades to come. And we thank you on behalf of the higher ed community for all that you've done to give us a seat at the table, but more importantly, to help us advance our goals. And we greatly appreciate that. To my board of trustees, and I add to this group, Ms. Anita Cave and Mr. Johnny Hudson, thank you for hiring me. Thank you for the trust and confidence you've shown in me. And thank you for the support you continue to give me each and every day. I will continue to work relentlessly to fulfill our collective vision for Henderson State University. And we've already seen that the road will not be easy, but my resolve is strong, and my determination is great, and my commitment to this university is for the long haul. To our elected officials, thank you so much for your service to our state and for your support of higher education, and specifically for your support of Henderson. Senators Bruce Mallett and Larry Teague and Bill Sample. Also Representative Johnny Roebuck and Senator Percy Malone, even though it's not serving. These people have been so great to me the past 16 months, reaching out to me and supporting me in our work to really advance the university. And I just want to publicly say thank you all for your service to our state, but also for your support of Henderson State University. There's an important group that I've not had a chance to formally thank, and I wanted to take that opportunity to do so, and that's the Presidential Search Committee. I want to say thank you all for forwarding my name for consideration to the Board of Trustees. I greatly appreciate the confidence you showed and being willing to advance my name for consideration. I've been on search committees before. I know what those discussions are like. I'm glad I was not a party to those discussions. But I do appreciate your thoughtfulness and your willingness not only to advance my name, but to support me since I've been here. To my family, thank you for your incredible support throughout the years. To my mom, thank you for being a picture of what it means to be a praying mother. Thank you for believing in me when at times I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for the words of encouragement. Thank you for your support. And most of all, thank you for your love. It's greatly appreciated. To my father, thank you for instilling the importance of education to me, in me, and my sister at an early age. Thank you for challenging me to live a life and have a life that was better than your own. I know those are not easy words to speak, but you spoke them, and we listened to them. And his key to getting my sister and I to earn good grades really rested in fear. He just placed the fear of God in us that you better not bring home anything below B. I'm married to a therapist, and when it comes to raising our kids, we've chosen a more noble route of bribery and extortion. We found this much more effective without the stress. And no Camille iPhone's still not coming. To my Aunt Martha, to my Aunt Essie, to my Uncle Frank, thank you all for being there for me throughout my life. You've been incredible instruments at the right time when I needed to hear a word of encouragement. In the case of my Aunt Essie, when I needed a place to stay when I was block clerking in the summers. To my Aunt Martha for providing me my very first briefcase, which I still have to this day. Thank you all so much. I'm a firm believer in the power of mentors to shape and influence the lives of young people. And 5 of my biggest mentors are here today, and I just want to publicly recognize them and say thank you to them. Bob and Judy Fisher. Bob's a Henderson alum. He's currently serving as president of Nashville. He's the dean of the School of Business when I was a student here, and he's the person who gave me my first job in higher education. Bob, thank you so much. To Les and Jeannie Wyatt. Les is the former president of Arkansas State University System, and Les gave me my first job as an administrator. It's been a great friend to me over the years. To Robert and Irene Potts. Robert's the former chancellor of Arkansas State University, Jonesboro, who, within 3 months after he was hired, he said, Glenn, you need to be a president, and let's place you on the path to becoming a president. They gave me incredible opportunities to succeed and to fail during my time at Arkansas State University. Likewise, Steve DeMott and his wife, Karen. Steve was one of my professors here at Henderson, and Steve taught me what it really meant to dream big. He challenged and encouraged me. He's been a great, great friend throughout my lifetime. And also to Mr. Ben Owens of Jonesboro, the former CEO of St. Bernard's Healthcare, one of the great legends in healthcare, for being just a great voice and a great sounding board, and a person who continues to encourage and inspire me even to this day. I have 2 mentors who could not be here today, and that's because they've passed on. The first is the late Dr. Charles Dunn, who was president when I was a student here. And I know Jane is here today. And Jane, on behalf of me and my family, thank you, your family. Not only for investing in me as a student, but also for the support and encouragement you continue to give our family while I'm president of Henderson State University. And the second one is a name many of you all will not know in this room. There's a surgeon by the name of Dr. Buck Rusher who passed away 3 years ago. And Buck's wife, Pam, is here today. Buck was a dear friend. He's one of my spiritual mentors, if you will, but a person of tremendous intellect and incredible passion. You all have been critical components of our lives, in addition to being outstanding friends for me and my family. And I simply want to say thank you. I have a lot of friends here from Jonesboro today that I can't begin to call by name, but thank you all for making the drive down to be a part of this very special day for us. To my church families, Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church in Blytheville, to Central Baptist Church in Jonesboro, and to my new family, Second Baptist here in Arkadelphia. Thank you all for your prayers, your support, and continued encouragement. To Sharon, Cameron, and Camille, thank you for the sacrifices you make each and every day that allow me to be president of Henderson State University. I know it's not always easy to share me with so many people. I know it's not always easy to live in a fishbowl. I know it's hard on the guys when I'm gone a lot of the times. And I want to say thank you. Sharon, I want to say thank you for taking yet another journey of faith with me. Thank you for giving up your career to support me in our great university. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for all you do. 25 years ago this fall, Henderson State University, as a poor, first-generation college student from Blytheville, Arkansas. I was unsure and afraid of what the future would hold, but yet I made the journey from Interstate 55 South to 40 West to 30 West to Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Didn't know what the future would hold. I didn't even know if I was good enough to even be here. But fear and uncertainty soon gave way to confidence and anticipation as I was engaged by a broad array of individuals here at Henderson. Their names were Adcock, Shipley, Gardner, Dawkins, Graves, Futrell, Smith, Gentry, and Dodson. They were my professors, and subsequently my mentors, many of whom became lifelong friends. They pushed, they challenged, they threatened, and they encouraged me to bring out the very best in me. My thinking was challenged as I shifted from being told everything to beginning to connect the dots for myself. And I began forming my own opinions of the world around me and how I would choose to interpret the life that lay before me. It wasn't enough for me to know the intricacies of my discipline. Rather, they emphasized that I needed to know or needed to be a well-rounded individual and encouraged me to take courses that had absolutely nothing to do with business, but had everything in the world to do with life. I enjoyed these courses tremendously as we discussed philosophy, the U.S. Constitution, the Holocaust, slavery, Chuck Berry and Mozart, how to dress appropriately, and even how to give a persuasive speech. And the experience didn't end there. I remember meeting people who were very different from me, and initially I struggled with that concept. However, living in the residence halls and dining in the cafeteria gave me a number of opportunities to meet people and to get to know these different people. And the more time we spent together, the more we realized that we had far more in common than we had differences. Stereotypes and closed-mindedness soon gave way to open discussions and lifelong friendships. You see, when done correctly, college should be a transformational experience for every student. This university transformed me. It transformed my thinking. It reinforced me the values my parents had instilled in me, but it also stretched me to step outside of my zones of comfort, to experience new opportunities that simply did not exist when I was a kid growing up. My time at Henderson changed my life, and its impact continues to reveal itself in the lives of those around me. For example, our kids are already thinking about college, and they know that they can go to any college in the world as long as they continue their current path of working hard and giving their best each and every day. But they also know that we will support them completely, provided they attend any university that rhymes with Henderson. But this is why I love our university, and this is why I'm so honored to serve as president. Henderson has a very special place in my heart. It has done so many great things in the lives of so many people and communities over the past 123 years. And as we strive to continue to do even greater things in the next century, we will have to adjust our practices, our behaviors, and even our attitudes to accommodate the number one reality that's facing the world today. And that is, the world has changed. And we must be willing to change in order to meet the needs of our world for tomorrow. The change of which I'm speaking shows up in two ways. Number one is in the nature of our students, and it shows up in the expectations of society. Our students are more diverse now than they've ever been in our history. They're the traditional 18-year-old, but they're also the non-traditional mother who works full-time. They're wealthy and poor. Many are first generation, some are second generation. We even have third generation students here at Henderson now. They come from around our state, our nation, and the world. They come expecting more, but they also come needing more from us. And as a result, we must be prepared to understand what they expect of the university. How do they prefer to learn? And what do they value in life as we engage them at the interface of their dreams and the opportunity that is higher education? Students, parents, and the public are demanding a greater return on their investment. This return expectation consists of expectations that Universities will be more responsive to their needs in areas of economic development, K-12 engagement, and community engagement. Expectations of the university will conduct analyses that will result in college being more affordable and more accessible and even more flexible in our degree offerings to current and future generations of Arkansans. But also there's an expectation that our systems will result in more students being retained from year to year and more students graduating in each year. I believe these expectations are fair and they're consistent with the expectations that have been placed on healthcare, K-12, financial, and other sectors where society has a vested interest in their performance and success. After all, the state continues to invest millions of dollars in higher education each year. In fact, our allocation from the state is a little bit over $20 million each year. The newly implemented performance funding model contains these expectations and will require that we fundamentally alter our approach to meeting the needs of our students in the future without sacrificing the quality of the education we deliver. While many people usually see change as something that's unpleasant or something to be avoided, I see it as creating incredible opportunities for us as a campus community. And as we seize this opportunity, I think it's important that we be willing to ask and answer some very critical questions. How will we utilize technology to deliver a public liberal arts experience to an even greater number of students today and tomorrow? What adjustments do we need to make to accommodate the shift in American demographics over the next 20 years? How do we deliver even more value to our students, their families, and our state as we strive to become even more effective and efficient in all aspects of the university? What commitments are we willing to make to ensure our students are even more successful? How do we continue to attract an outstanding faculty, staff, and students during a time of flat state support, complaints about increased tuition and fees, stagnant faculty salaries, and requests for more financial assistance from our students? That's a great question. And how do we measure success? And then how do we communicate that success to the people of Arkansas to whom we're all accountable? It's against this backdrop and amid these expectations that I approach work each day. I love working here at Henderson State University. And each day I'm reminded that it's a blessing to be able to work in higher education, a place where magical things seem to happen almost every day. Sometimes that magic shows up when a group of physics students have built their own Segway and they're parading it around campus saying, look at what we did. Sometimes that magic shows up when we're watching the show band of Arkansas strut their stuff at a concert performance or a football game. Sometimes it shows up when we watch our fraternities and sororities picking up trash along a crowded highway. But also it shows up, and it showed up a few weeks ago and early on a Saturday morning when we had 650 students show up for our community service day. And they came, and it rained, and they stayed, and they worked. And their service encouraged the community and caused this president to smile as I began to hear reports of the difference their assistance made that day. Perhaps there was magic within the text of an email that we received in May informing us that one of our beloved colleagues had stage 4 brain cancer and had not been given much time to live. 5 months later, she's still with us. She's back at work and she's going strong. But also that magic also showed up Saturday afternoon in Harding when we had a football player suffer a devastating injury. As I was listening to the game, I heard the announcer say, I believe the Henderson football team is gathering in prayer for the student athlete. Moved by their actions, the Harding football team came over and prayed with me. And by the way, Robert Jordan is doing well and should be home on Thursday. When I interviewed for this position, I came with only 2 core questions. Number 1, how does the community feel about this university? And how does Henderson feel about itself? Additionally, I wanted to assess the sense and gain a sense of the hopes and dreams of our campus community, and particularly the faculty. We drove away that Friday afternoon convinced that the possibilities here were unlimited, and that the Rady spirit was still alive, but perhaps in need of a revival. Years of budgetary decline, leadership transitions, some internal strife, and retirements of key faculty members had left the university a little battered, a little worn, somewhat unfocused, and without a strong plan of action during uncertain times. And despite these factors, it was impressive to see that our campus continued to focus on our students, and on the overall quality of the academic programs to ensure that our students would be prepared for the challenges of life. I came here because I believe that we can do some great things at Henderson State University in the areas of offering a transformative liberal arts-based curriculum, student engagement and success, diversity and inclusion, leadership development, and community engagement. I still see wonderful opportunities for us to become one of the finest universities in our state, and indeed one of the best in the South. We've been left a legacy of greatness, and our chosen profession of higher education is among the most noble there is, and I'm convinced it's absolutely critical if we're ever going to have a truly healthy, vibrant, and strong society. See, my belief is very simple. The next to the redeeming work that Christ does through his church, nothing transforms lives of individuals like higher education does. Absolutely nothing. And that's the calling we have. And that's the opportunity we have. Because virtually every area of society in which there's a struggle, we find that these areas can be remediated, if not eliminated, by educating more people and providing a stronger higher education experience for many. Poverty, healthcare disparities, crime, opportunities, economic development, and quality of life. And this is why, as an institution, pretty good, good, and good enough have no place at Henderson. We have the opportunity to literally change the world as we encounter, engage, and educate our students on a daily basis. And as our lives are transformed, the lives of those around them will be transformed as well. And this transformation of character is the epitome of the Holy Spirit, which forms the very foundation of this university. And in order to build upon this foundation and to live up to our responsibility as being Arkansas's public liberal arts university, I believe we must remain committed to 6 important things. Number 1, we must remain committed to our students. And to our students, you will always come first at Henderson. And everything we do will be directly tied to creating an outstanding academic experience for you, and one that prepares you to be leaders and difference makers in the world around us. The world needs you to step up and to step forward regardless of personal circumstances and obstacles that may be placed in your path. You have an incredible opportunity, and I ask that you join us as we raise the bar of expectation for ourselves and for the campus. We will remain student-centered as we work continuously to meet your needs while demanding the very best of you each day. And as we challenge you, we will be quick to support you and to encourage you in meeting our standards. My encouragement to our students is simply this: go for it. Go for it. Give your very best effort each day. Don't worry about failing. I'm going to let you in on a secret. You're going to fail. We all have failed. Failure is a part of it. But you cannot let failure or the fear of failure prevent you from reaching for your dreams. Harry Tubman once said, and I quote, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer." Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world, end quote. We believe that you have what it takes to change the world. Now we need you all to believe the same thing. Likewise, we must commit to excellence. An enduring commitment to academic excellence must remain at the forefront of all that we do. This begins with building and maintaining an outstanding faculty that consists of diverse individuals whose credentials are only eclipsed by the passion, the care, and concern they have for the well-being of our students. I'm thankful that we have a very strong faculty here at Henderson, and I'm looking forward to our continued engagement as we enhance the quality and quantity of our academic offerings, while also exploring new opportunities that will enable us to serve our students even better. The changing higher education landscape will require that we reinvent ourselves as an institution. As we, along with all of higher education, continue to grapple with the fact that our current system simply was not designed to accommodate the interests of students today, an increasing number of whom are non-traditional. They represent a number of diverse populations. As a good friend of mine likes to say, even Harvard recognized that the system was flawed, and they have changed the way they do business. And since Harvard has changed, we now all have permission to change as well. And while we should not and will not abandon our traditions simply for the sake of change, we cannot continue to obligate ourselves to any tradition or practice that does not produce the outcomes we all desire, especially in the areas of student engagement and student success. Likewise, if we're going to build upon this great foundation and dare to be great, we must continue to embrace diversity and inclusion as means of civility, leadership, and good citizenship, and not as something to be tolerated as if it were a bad cold. We're living during a time where you're either for us or you're against us. There's no room for civility in our discourse, nor is there space for disagreement without being vilified or labeled as being less than for expressing a countervailing opinion. Whether it's racial or ethnic diversity of thought or opinion, or even discussions about sexual orientation, many conversations often result in the assignment of labels and a refusal to recognize the basic humanity of the parties to the conversation. The people we serve are Christian and non-Christian. They're rich and poor. They're black, white, and international. They're gay and straight. They hail from educated families and they come from non-educated families. And they all belong here, and they all are welcome here at Henderson State University. As a public university, we exist first and foremost to serve those right around us, no matter what difference they may possess. This university will embrace the person, the individual behind each difference, and will operate from one basic premise. If educated people cannot have civil discourse on these difficult issues of our time, then who can have these discussions? If they can't be held within the safety of the university, then where can they be held? If they're not held now, then when? We're preparing our students to be leaders in a global, ever-changing society, and we will be doing them a tremendous disservice if diversity and inclusion are not critical components of their university experience. Likewise, if we're going to be great, we must commit to trust. I accept the primary responsibilities of this position of preserving the public trust and protecting the integrity of our university. However, I also believe that there's another responsibility that comes with this position, and that is to earn and to preserve the trust of our campus. Trust speaks directly to the depth of our character. It's very difficult to earn, but yet it's so easy to lose. For me, trust begins with a commitment to the people I serve. It also begins with a commitment to the principles of shared governance in all of its dimensions. It will be foolish of me to believe that I have all of the answers and not be willing to access and listen to the collective wisdom of our campus. I believe that if we're going to dare to be great, we must first dare to trust each other. This trust serves as the core of our university and provides a framework for a strong shared governance system whereby the campus is providing an opportunity to give input in a meaningful way to those decisions that will impact the campus. While the process may be slow at times, it does provide a necessary and vital framework for strengthening and maintaining trust as we continue our journey together. Likewise, we must commit to service. Here we must use our collective, human, intellectual, and to the extent possible, financial resources in service to our community, our region, and our state. Our partnering with K-12 institutions, other colleges and universities, business and industry, local government, and charitable organizations will result in stronger communities in the state of Arkansas. And these stronger communities will in turn provide us with even stronger students to educate in the future. To my higher education colleagues that are here today, and there are many, I offer a new paradigm for you to consider today. Rather than continuing on our current paths of isolationism and living in independently owned and operated silos that stretch and strain our limited resources, I ask you to consider partnering with us and identifying ways in which we can leverage our existing resources into achieving greater efficiencies in our systems and delivering greater effectiveness to our students and communities. I have resolved that you all are not my enemy, except the 3rd November. 3rd Saturday in November. For you guys that don't know, it's when we play at school. But I have resolved that you are not my enemy. Rather, our common enemies remain ignorance and the absence of opportunity for the people we serve. Working together to meet these common needs of all Arkansans will enable our state and our students to see that higher education is about so much more than preparing people to have a good job. Rather, it's about making a difference in the lives of the people we serve. I'm also mindful that there's an internal community that we have here on our campus as well. We're co-workers, colleagues, and friends, and together we have our own needs And while striving for individual excellence, it's very important that we continue to encourage and to support those right around us, because after all, that's what greatness do. And finally, we must commit to servant leadership. I believe that if anyone desires to be great, that he should first be willing to serve. I don't view myself as some king who sits on high and as the governor says so adequately and so well. I have no power. I may have some authority, but whatever I have, I choose to use it in service to you. Because I believe that's what's going to take Henderson higher. That's what's going to take us further. And not only will you see that in myself, but you will see it in my entire administrative team, as I have women and men who will come alongside of me, who will always make decisions that are in the best interest of our university, and not just a series of short-sighted decisions that we make to either make ourselves look good or to prepare ourselves for the next step. This is the next step. This is Henderson, and it's entitled to our very, very best. Today's ceremony is humbling for me on a number of levels. First, I think of two very special ladies, and I thought about them this morning. These are my grandmothers. They were incredible women, great class and great dignity. They were not educated people by any stretch of the imagination. I think they made it 5th grade at the highest. But they were great encouragers. They were great supporters of mine. And I really wish they could be here celebrating this day with us. Next, I reflect on what my appointment means to our university, to our state, if not to the South in general. But it does not surprise me that Henderson State University would be the first university in our state to grant an opportunity to an African American to serve as its president. Opportunity has always been a hallmark of Henderson. And I'm honored that I would be the first. And as I accepted this position back in March of 2012, I told the group at that time, history may very well indeed list me as a first, but I know history will judge me based upon my ability to lead our university forward, collectively. And finally, I think of the thousands who have called Henderson home since 1890, and I'm honored to inherit their legacy. It's a legacy that started in 1890, but was born on the evening of February 3rd, 1914. So that was the evening we had the Great Fire. It burned down a significant part of our campus, and it left many people thinking that Henderson was done, that Henderson was finished, it could never recover from a disaster of that magnitude. But our students gathered that night long ago. Our faculty gathered, and they resolved that they would rebuild Henderson. They resolved that they would stay at Henderson. They resolved that no matter what was coming, and yes, World War I was on the horizon, but they were determined that they were going to stay and make this university their legacy. Our history records that the Red Spirit was born on that evening almost 100 years ago. And like the Phoenix, our university literally rose from the ashes because those students and faculty dared to be great. The institution didn't have much money, and they certainly were afraid as they were approaching the start of World War I. Yet they believed and they persevered. They framed a university that was truly built to stand the test of time. See, ladies have persevered through World War I, through the stock market crash of 1929, through the Great Depression. We've endured World War II. We've endured racial unrest. We've endured both Korea and Vietnam. All because that small group of people so many years ago dared to be great. So you have to ask the question, how's Henderson done? Let's ask the over 1,200 commissioned military officers who've come out of this university. Let's ask the 6 military generals that have been produced by this university. Let's ask the Fortune 500 CEOs that have been produced by Henderson State University. Let's ask the Academy Award winner who graced our halls. Let's ask our Broadway performers. Let's ask our governors. Let's ask our senators. I believe Governor Pryor is here today. Let's ask the many public servants. Let's ask our 3 college and university presidents who are here today. Let's ask the thousands of teachers, business leaders, and school administrators and physicians who have been educated by her. A small group of people daring to be great truly changed the world as this university continues to make an incredible difference in the lives of people each and every year. The There's no denying that we live in difficult times, but our university has been there before, and we're going to take our lead from those who've gone on before us. We will continue to believe in the nobleness of our cause, and we will keep our eyes on the prize, and that's delivering the best educational experience for our students in the most caring environment imaginable. John Steinbeck once wrote, "It is the nature of man to be great when greatness is expected of him." I expect great things from Henderson State University. Sharon and I truly believe that God has called us here to plan our lives at this university and in this community. And He did not call me here to do good things. He called me to do great things in His name. And indeed, I want to change the world from Arkadelphia, Arkansas. I want to be a part of changing how people think. I want to be a part of changing how people interact with each other. I want to be a part of changing all the things that are wrong within this world. I want to be a part of reminding people that no matter what difference we have, we're all created in God's image, and we're all created to do great things. And I believe that we can, and I believe that we will do great things here at Henderson State University. And I invite you all in joining us in dreaming, and planning, and delivering a brighter tomorrow for our world by believing in the power of the Great Spirit. In the spirit of Harriet Tubman, I too am a dreamer. I have a lot of great dreams for Henderson. And I believe we have within us the strength, the patience, the passion, and the power to change the world. And today I simply have one question, one invitation, one challenge. Join us. Join us. We have an incredible opportunity here. We're not here by any accident at this point in time, but I truly believe if we will work together, if we will listen, if we will dare to be great, we will indeed change the world together. May God bless you all, and thank you all for being here.
Mr. Bobby Jones will offer the benediction.
Would you pray with me, please? Lord, we are so grateful to you and for the significance that the activities of this day bear on Henderson State University. We thank you for the privilege of coming to Arkansas Hall to celebrate what you have done by giving to Henderson Dr. Glen Jones and ask your blessings on him as he does the work he has been charged to do. We ask that as we leave this place, that Henderson State University will continue to produce excellence in education, scholars, and students, and our graduates will continue to go forth and make a difference not only in Arkansas, but the entire world. We're in prayer for the governor of the state of Arkansas, each professor, faculty member, administrator, student, and visitor here today. We close by praying these things in your name. Amen.